Welcome to ATI Pro Media. It is Tuesday, March 18th. Get that bracket filled out. You only got a couple more days. But we got some other good headlines, right? Brazil looking to increase that ethanol blend. Good to see. Demand is demand. We'll take it anywhere we can get it. Then looking at China renews export registrations, right? That was quick. That's a good headline. Economic aid. It looks like it's coming by Friday. So a good sign, right? It's good to see that. Then I think we need to talk a little bit about barley acres, right? Good fun one, right? Looking at beer consumption in the U.S. and how tariffs could affect that. So some good headlines. We're having a little trouble with our quote software, but I think Brady can have us covered pulling it up. But Brady, do you have quotes working? Mine are delayed, it looks like.
We can get through here and give you an update. Yes, let's roll through the markets. May corn's down $4.50 at 456.50 cents. D's new crop corn down 3/4 of a cent at 453 1/4. Got beans up half a cent at 10.16. New crop beans are up half a cent at 10.19. Looking over your wheat market, wheat's up 3 cents on KC, and Chicago is unchanged. So everything's kind of leaking a little weaker here as we get a little deeper into the morning session. When we look over at your cattle market, feeders are just a tick green, couple ticks green. April's at 284, 225. You got your SEP out there at 288.20. It's actually 40 points weaker out there on your feeders. Fat cattle 75 points weaker. April at 204, 275. And August at 198.075. Hogs a little weaker, dollar weaker on your June hogs. And then when we look over at macro markets, we got the Dow down 240 points, the S&P down 65, the NASDAQ down 367. Wow. Russell down 20. Crude is up 30 points, 67.66. Nat gas is 7 cents higher, and diesel is a penny or two higher at 222. So, yeah, a little weaker across the board. Macro's weaker, and then your corn market weaker as well. But beans and wheat trying to hang on to things. You'd think with the China export headline that the hog market would have been a little better off too. So I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you want to start at?
Oh, we can go wherever. It's kind of that. To me, it feels like we had a heck of a show yesterday, and today it's like, what is there out there that's new? We're all just waiting on things. Get the Fed meeting starting off today as well.
Yep.
Interest rates, dot plot stuff tomorrow. Going to be a big headline. I didn't throw that in there before the show, but that's something else on the mind. And then Trump Putin, we talked about it yesterday. Also starting to happen today, and watch for those headlines later today as well. But let's roll through that first one there.
Yeah, it feels like today is a little bit like sometimes it feels like we got to talk about the price action. We got to look at that. This week it feels like we're a little, I don't know, it's more of a headline focus. I got some good headlines, but let's do it. All right.
We could pull some charts in, but we don't have charts. We don't have prices. What the heck's going on?
How about this? You talk if you want to. You just talk about the chart, and I'll draw it. I'll just.
Well, Connor is. Yeah, you are classic for drawing the charts. We got our rock star graphic. What do we got here? Yeah.
All right. Well, Brazil considering going to increase in ethanol, going to 30%. So I believe they were at 27, I think. But here we go. Tests in Brazil exploring the viability of increasing the proportion of ethanol mixed with gasoline to 30% showed consistent performance and real environmental benefits. With E30, we will become once and for all independent from gas imports, something that has not happened since 2010, Brazilian Minister of Energy said. So
that's nice headline there. Always good to see a little more demand, and if you can bump the domestic demand there with so they were at 27% and bumping to 30% there. So and then considering, I guess, so that's maybe not set in stone. Am I understanding that right too?
Exactly. Yeah. Following successful test results, the ministry will take the proposal to increase ethanol proportion in gasoline to National Energy Policy Council. So yeah. So tests were positive. They hope they can get it, but yeah. So yeah, Brazil's at E27, E30, right? We got some catching up to do, but we'll take right. I said before. The demand is demand, right? If we can get ethanol up, sounds good to me.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. So most U.S. gas supply here about 10%, and we've talked about E15 year-round E15 access, and I think we've maybe making some headway there. But and I think there's been maybe some independent testing. Robert, if you're out there, I know last time we talked about this, you said you'd like to run E30 all year and have no problems in your vehicle. So there's probably some independent rogue testing going on here in the U.S. with E30 as we know it.
Good stuff. Well, hey, let's keep going. Here's one. We talked about it yesterday, but China renews export registrations for U.S. pork and poultry plants in relief to farmers. So, good to see. Where is that headline? Oh, I got it here. So, yeah, that was the big risk, right? Is that we're going to see that expire?
Yeah. Heck yeah, this is a big win. Big win. Good to see. That headline didn't last very long. It doesn't seem like.
No, it's kind of funny when we do this, where how fast the headlines fall out of touch, isn't it?
Right. Posted out, I think Friday morning. People talked about it over the weekend, Monday, and here we are, gone on Tuesday.
Yep. So here's some stats for you. Beijing has renewed registrations that allow hundreds of U.S. pork and poultry facilities to export to China. Chinese customs website showed that registrations were renewed until 2030.
Okay.
But then there's still a bunch of U.S. beef facilities that remain listed as expired. So it looked like the win is definitely pork and poultry. Waiting to see on beef, I guess. Okay.
We'll be on pins and needles waiting to see if we get some update on the beef front there. But big win for pork, and China, a huge pork importer for us. So good to see. You can flush that headline down the toilet here for now. Let's get that out of here. That's a new sound I found this morning.
I was going to say, you had that one loaded up, didn't you?
Yeah, just waiting for it.
All right. Well, hey, I get this question a lot just looking at when's the economic aid packages come. So I saw this one. We got to talk about it. USDA economic aid applications expected by Friday. U.S. Ag Department is expected to open applications for economic aid to farmers by the deadline of Friday. Politico's Grace Yar reported Monday. So looks like it's coming, right? Go ahead.
Is this the December one, the Farm Act stuff, or is this separate from that?
No, this is the Farm Act one, right? We're still. Then you've got the other one. Still waiting. If you're looking at like those disaster aid payments, right, which is kind of separate, right? This is the Farm Relief Act. They're still waiting. If on the $21 billion in disaster aid to help farmers recover from last year's hurricanes, floods, droughts, and more. Yes, this is what we talked about. Was it in December or November?
Yeah, I think it was December. The Biden bucks in December, right before Christmas, early Christmas present.
Yeah. So, it looks like it's
down to the wire, though. I thought they had 90 days to do stuff, and I think we're closing in on that pretty quick here. So.
Yeah. And you remember it was I think it was a Commodity Classic where Secretary Rollins said it was going to come maybe a little bit earlier. Well, doesn't look like they're going to be right on time, which I guess is just fine. But it's interesting looking at this, Brady, just the economic assistance payment rates by crop, right? Texas is over, if we go state by state, Texas is going to be just overwhelmingly the biggest receiver, but it's really cotton, oats, peanuts, rice are really the big ones, right? Corn, wheat, soybeans are $43 an acre, $31.29 corn, wheat, soybeans in that order. But yeah, so I think it looks like applications will be open by Friday.
That's good for especially for equipment dealers and retailers, all that stuff. Pumping that economic aid out to farmers flows through the whole ag community for sure. So
yeah. So let's hope that headline doesn't expire, right? Let's hope that one gets moves and we can move on with that one.
True. Good point. Oh gosh. Yep.
All right. I got one more for you, and then we can open up questions. Anything else you want to talk about? It's a big one, right? This is directly from Reuters. With beer drinking down in the U.S., barley farmers now fear tariffs, right? And so it's just looking at those barley acres, right? If we see any type of tariffs, any type of hiccups, right? The article, just to summarize it real quick, is just saying that margins are tight, right? Demand is just not there for barley. What are guys going to plant? So my first thought was, when we look, I was talking to a couple of guys yesterday where we're talking about this big corn acre number. And, you start thinking about, okay, well, how do we not get to 94 million acres of corn, right? How do we see something else being planted? And it's amazing when you go to different commodities, it doesn't matter if it's barley, if it's cotton, right? The economics just aren't there. That was my first thought. My second thought was, here we go, Brady, is that beer drinking, I got to find it. Beer consumption in the U.S. has been sliding, and in 24, it hit its lowest level in over 40 years. God. 40 years, the lowest. And you know what? Quite frankly, I blame myself. I had kids in 2020. The beer drinking has cut back significantly, and so I'm not doing my part anymore. So it's on me, barley farmers.
You can blame Connor B, barley farmers out there, beer companies across the world. Connor B's, dropping the ball there. That does make sense though, and I don't know. It seems like it's more popular to give it up and focus on other things, especially with our generation. We got kids and running around like crazy. You just can't. You can't do it all. And as that next generation, maybe they're dropping the ball. They're not picking up the slack quite like when But
I think the other
social
thing
media
is,
too, because now you can't do anything without it getting recorded on social media. Thank goodness we didn't have that growing up.
That's the truth. The other thing is, I think all these seltzers cut into the beer market too.
Yeah.
But that was the main takeaway, is that we're going to look at acreage. What is the USDA going to say in that prospective plantings report? And, I don't know the answer to that, right? We've seen it before where everyone thinks it's going left, and, USDA markets in general got a funny way of going right. But right now, it just feels like the economics still point to corn. And, I just don't see anything else really infringing on it. There's no, a lot of times it could be like, well, hey, cotton is really going to gain. It's really not though. I mean,
right. Yeah. There was, a few years ago, cotton had a huge push up here, and it was when corn prices weren't working, and cotton was buying acres and pushing north to gain those acres. And right now it's almost like those other commodities. Corn's not really buying acres. It's just the other commodities are almost selling acres. And
that's a great way to say it.
Right. They're not taking anything out of the bucket today. It all changes going forward. We'll see what actually comes to fruition and what all gets planted down the road. We'll get a lot of numbers to chew through, and they'll all be wrong until they're right at the end of the day. I don't know. At some point they'll be right. Absolutely. All right, let's roll with some comments and get on out of here.
Tony Dunker feels like hogs already knew the news yesterday.
Yeah. Funny how that works sometimes, seems like.
Then here we go. Led home. Good Tuesday morning. We have used E30 for over 20 years and haven't experienced anything negative. Good to hear. Let's get it.
I like it. I like the accessibility to, more of those blender pumps, and then consumer education. And you got lots of industry advocates out there working to educate the consumer. We're getting a few more blender pumps out here in Kansas, and we've really been behind the 8 ball on getting those out there. And I don't know. And more engines that, publish that they, can handle E30 or those higher blends of ethanol, getting them set up across the whole industry. The important things, big things for the U.S. farmers.
The big push, remind me, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but the big push was just to get year-round E15, right?
That'd be huge, yeah. In the whole 5% bump in the whole nation's gas supply would be huge, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's that feels like, has that been stalled, or is that just still kind of in the works type of thing? I need to read more up on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in that space, yeah.
Me either.
Sorry, I failed you on that one.
Hey, that's okay. I just assume you always got the answers, so.
Just assume, yeah. Well, if not, we'll just make something up and pretend it's right. We can. There
you go. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll wrap it up.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us today, and appreciate you every day. Markets are. I'll just kind of run through corn real quick as we close the session out here, but May corn down 3 1/4, 457 3/4. D's corn 454 1/4, up 1/4%. Wheat's back up, clawing back off the bottom here, up 6.5 on your May at 612 KC wheat. New crop KC wheat 623 3/4, up 6 cents. Feeders are leaking a little weaker, down 45 points. Fats leaking as well, down 50 to 75 points. On there in your hog market, a little bit weaker. Well, bouncing off the lows here, only down 52 points on your June contract. So things are moving. It's Tuesday. A lot of headlines this week. A lot of macro market outside noise happening. 2 weeks from that grain stocks and prospective plannings report. You talked about it yesterday, Connor B. Get your marketing under control before you get busy out in the field. I like to leave you all with that. So.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay. Everyone have a great day.
See you, Connor B.